For both of you guys. Just obviously it's a tight first period. You guys come out, score in the second, and then have a flurry of goals in the second period. Just what did you guys see that was working for you in the first period and that allowed you to execute in the second?
I mean, early on, we had a lot of really good pressure. We were just playing very tight. With their speed and skill, we had to be above them. We did a really good job at reloading. They were very quick at closing when pucks were coming around the wall, and they were transitioning very well. So they weren't able to get a whole lot going. They did get a couple breakaways early, obviously, and Bob closed the door. And after that, we were able to tighten it back up a bit and do the job defensively. That's where that team is extremely dangerous. They create breakaways and 2-on-1s and automatic rushes out of nothing plays. And, we got caught a couple times early. Bob backed us up. And then after that, we just did a great job at being above them and just kind of forcing everything up the wall and then allowed us to transition. So we executed well.
Seth, obviously your goal huge to break it open there. Just what did that moment feel like, and just how nice was that for the team after just a tight first period to finally get that first goal?
Yeah, it felt good. I don't even know who's on the wall. Still, I haven't seen it, but it was a great little inside play. I was just trying to join the rush, be aggressive, and try to find an opening and put a puck to the net. It was a tight game, but trying to make a difference, offensively or defensively when I can.
Brad, it almost seems like you've become the Maple Leafs executioner with two different teams multiple times. Do you kind of think about it that way?
Well, I appreciate that, but that, no, I don't look at it that way. I think if you look at the past, I haven't played well in Game 7s against Toronto. So, I mean, no one player wins any. I just happen to be part of, good teams that have had the upper hand. But if you actually historically look at the games, I didn't play well. It wasn't me that beat them. It was our team, and our teams have always been really deep and good. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of a really, really deep team here right now. So no, I don't look at it that way. Just sometimes that's how the dominoes fall. And in those games we get a couple good bounces, and they were on the bad end of that. I think if you look at the heat this team catches, it's actually really unfortunate. They've been working at building something really big here for a while, and they were a different brand of hockey this year, and they're getting crucified, and I don't think it's justified. Just because they're able to do it. I mean, we're a really good deep team too, and that's how things go sometimes. So, yeah, no, I don't look at it that way. It's just how things go sometimes.
Brad, often when a player has spent his entire career with a team and gets dealt right at the deadline on deadline day, in your case, it can be difficult, the adjustment and finding your stride and fitting in. It doesn't seem like it was for you. Why is that? And then how do you feel now?
It was difficult when I first got here, just because I wasn't playing. And we had a ton of games, and I wasn't skating with the team at all. So I wasn't around the group as much as you need to be to really transition into the system and into the team and the dynamics of everything. So I felt it was a little bit tough the first few weeks, but once I got playing, then, I mean, the guys are awesome. The group is incredible. We have such a fun group, and very easy to adapt off the ice and in the room. It was more just the on-ice stuff because I wasn't out there with the guys. And then, once everybody got back and we actually saw what the lines were going to be, because that was the other part of it. The last 10 games, half our lineup wasn't in the lineup. So it was tough to really see who was going to be with who. But yeah, I mean, after that, after I got back to the group, it was a very easy transition, and I felt very comfortable. The guys are, they're just there to help every day. And when you have a veteran group and guys that have been through big moments before, like, everyone just goes about their business. It's very easy to kind of fall into place and just do your role. And so it's a special group. I'm sure Jonesy feels the same way about coming in. You transition very well as well. So it's a special group to be a part of.
Brad, Craig Berube was just in here saying one of the main differences was between the ears, a mindset. Was there a point in this game where you guys felt you had the mental edge? And what's the difference between closing a team out mentally and maybe not rising to that occasion?
Yeah, I think it's easy to have to go into games and have different mindsets. I don't know what their mindset was. I can't speak to that, but I know that our mindset, we have a ton of belief in the system that we play and the depth of our group and the experience in these moments. Going through before, obviously you talk about it, but it's invaluable experience when you go through moments like this and you've been through these moments before and a lot of guys in the team have won cups, and when you win a cup and you play in some of the games that this team played in last year, like these are not high pressure games. When you're playing for an actual cup and you give up a 3-game lead and then you're in game 7, like that's a high pressure game, right? So, in game 7, the second round, yeah, it's a high pressure game, but it's not compared to some other games that guys have played. So when you actually look at that, and then when you see the pressure that Toronto faces and everyone's talking about whatever the 20, 30-year buildup, I don't even know what it is, but you see the fans and the way they're talked, like they just beat the pressure into this team. And it's got to be tough on those guys to walk to the rink every day and not feel that, because you see the way the fans treat them at the end. Like, how do you not feel that every single day? And when you go through big games, like you realize which are actually big games and which are just, big moments.
To sort of build off of what Brad was just saying there, just after watching this Panthers team from a distance, seeing what they've done the last few years, what's it like to be part of this group where, like I said, the resiliency is there and it seems like nothing phases them? What's it like to be part of that, and what have you learned about this team since you got here a couple months ago?
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot better to be on this side of it than the other side my whole career. And just when I came in, the transition was quite different just because it's a completely new system. And the coaches did a lot of video with me the first few weeks here. There was a lot of mistakes made. I wasn't used to being super aggressive with gaps and, that 5-man unit forecheck that we play over the ice and the man-to-man action. So that was definitely an adjustment. But like Maurice said, I'll piggyback off that. The way that the guys handle themselves every single day, every single practice day, you can feel the drive. I think it's one of the main things that surprised me was it's easy to be complacent, especially after they won a cup, and I wasn't sure how that was going to feel. But coming in, you can just feel the drive to win another one and just be better every single day. And that's individually each guy, all the way from our best players to our first liners to our fourth liners. Every guy wants to get better and learn and play for one another. So it's awesome to be a part of. The last few months have been kind of a whirlwind, clearly for me, and I just wanted to come in and play my game and play meaningful games. And I'm happy that this organization has, believed in me to do that and playing with some great players.
Brad, you guys were down 2 games, 2 goals in game 3 twice, then to overtime. Big picture, how did this series turn around in your favor?
Honestly, it turned around because we started playing the way we could. We didn't play well in the first 2 games. They were ready for us, and I think maybe we might have taken it a little bit for granted, or maybe thought it might be a little bit easier. But whatever the reason was, we were not playing in the first 2 games. Even to start the third, we didn't play the way that we needed to have success against this group. And they came out extremely hard. They pushed much harder than I've seen them push before. Then when we actually started getting back to the system and the way this team has played for a long time, we started to feel more confident in what we were doing and how we had to play to have success. And we just started playing that brand of hockey. And when we do that, we give ourselves an opportunity to be in the game most nights. So I think it was really, we just got back to playing the aggressive, hard style that this team plays. And it's just, it's a tough game to play against. And obviously we're a deep group. We have a lot of depth, and, we were able to use that.
Brad, I realize what you said about the pressure that these guys face, but a couple of years ago, when you won MVP of the Hall of Fame game, you took the trophy and you lifted it over your head and you skated around the ice here.
Good memory.
You seem to take a lot of pleasure in torturing this fan base and this team. And I'm wondering if that's the case. If you take any more pleasure in beating these guys than you do anyone else.
You never take for granted winning. You know, winning is the most incredible feeling. And on any night, it's not easy to win in this league. But I think the thing about Toronto is their fans are very in your face, and they're in your face, right? So they're aggressive and they let you hear it all the time, and it's just fun to interact. You know, I think everybody that knows me, you guys have all seen, like I interact with a lot of fans, and I enjoy that part of it. Like we're out there, we're living a dream that a lot of us never thought would ever really become reality. And it's like, it's a job, and it's tough, and there's expectations, and you know, from the media, from the players, from the staff, the ownership, the fans. But you know, there's moments that you need to enjoy. Like careers fly by, you know, and like I've been in it a long time, and I've been very fortunate, and it's almost over, right? And like I can't believe how fast it's gone by. I wish I was able to enjoy more moments and actually look back and take take moments that I took for granted. I wish I could have over, but you don't get that opportunity. And that's one of them. You know, like I grew up a Leafs fan, and I enjoy playing against the Leafs, and I enjoy interacting with fans. Like it's fun. It's not something that I'll forever get to do. You know, and I don't take myself too seriously. Like I love getting made fun of. I love making fun of people. And if you can't take it, then so be it. But I can, so I'm going to enjoy the moments that I have. And that's one of them. You know, and when I come in here and I get booed and I get that award in the game, I'm going to show it. And, you know, I'm going to enjoy that. So, it's just not about taking yourself too seriously in the game. Like, yes, we all want to win and we all want to chase a cup, but you don't always get to do that. So you got to enjoy the process and the steps and the days that you have throughout that journey.
Seth, this one's for you. When you got here, you talked about how much it meant to you to play in important games like this. I mean, for you personally, how much does it mean to not only get to the Eastern Conference Final now, but put up a pretty big performance there to help your team clinch a Game 7 there?
Yeah, I just wanted to play my game tonight and be a difference maker. You know, it's my first Game 7, and, you know, you have so many thoughts going into it. But the main thing that I kept telling myself was just be excited to play. Just play your game. Don't, hold your stick too tight. Don't think about the plays too much, and just go out there and trust your skills and trust your instincts. So I try to do that tonight. Obviously, when I got here, this is the moments that I not only, thought I'd be in, but I'd hoped I'd be in. And I have so many great players that are playing with me, and I can just go out and play hockey and not worry about too many other things. My game starts defensively, and I take a lot of pride in that. And then, when I feel the need to jump, I can do that as well. So I just want to try to open my game up in big moments. And, I was luckily, good enough tonight where that showed.
That's a jacket, my friend. Nice.
Paul, Craig Berube was in here a few minutes ago saying that he thinks maybe it was kind of between the ears kind of thing for them to not be able to step up in this moment. Just what about your team has the ability to step up in moments like this?
I think Game 7s are players' games, right? We're at Game 94 this year. There's not much coaching. We've been doing it for 93 games coming in. There's nothing new. There's no tactics. None of you are going to listen to me on this, but I would caution you from applying or assigning you guys are going to do it anyway. Those games are so tight. The emotion, the build up to the games, right? Like when we score the first goal, we own the first 10 minutes of the first period. They own the second 10 minutes. That's it. Both teams were. If you flip it, you'd say, "Oh, they came out right." Well, we came out right. They found the answer to come back at us. That's the truth, right? We scored a goal. And then we got those two, and it's just a puck to the net. It's not, it's so much closer than you think, but you're going to kill these guys and they don't deserve it. That's 7 games, and we played well. I didn't like our first period in game 1. We played well in the 2 losses. We played well in game 6 and got beat. That's how tight it is. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, the margin for error is small, right? Before the puck dropped tonight, there were 5 teams in the NHL left. 5. All of them capable of winning. Puck went our way tonight. That's it.
That being said, Matthew Tkachuk said earlier today, this team is built for game 7s. How is that? And you know, how do you create a team that is built for these situations?
If the core foundation of your game is the simplest things, it doesn't matter how your hands feel. It doesn't matter how your body feels. It doesn't matter how well you execute. If it's how comfortable you are in hard situations, then you have a chance, right? But it starts in training camp for us. It's a grinder. This is a grinding season for us, not just because the games we played. Our schedule was abusive. But that turned out to be the right adversity that we would need to play that. We talk about game 7 in training camp. Want to play a style of game that gives us a chance to win tonight? Give us a chance to win tonight.
Oh, Paul.
Usually you're the last question, Ken.
Yeah, I know.
Really beat me down to.
Paul, did you contemplate challenging the goalie interference? Because I can see why you might not, because then if you lose and they score, it's 3-1.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Seth would have had a hat trick. So I'm wondering just what was.
Well, that part I had no idea. Yeah, Seth, we don't care about hat tricks. Gadge had a goal tonight, though. We care about that.
But did you contemplate?
No, I've got like all the guys on the end of that kind of earpiece. You're watching it. In the regular season, I might have, but there is a context. I don't really consider the context in the regular season. It's just whether I think it's goalie interference or it's not. But in that, the call on the ice was goalie interference, and it was Seth's foot that propelled the stick that propelled the puck. I just didn't think we were getting the call back. If I was on the other bench, I would expect not to have that be a good goal. I think that it doesn't matter whether we argue whether the call was right. I think they made the appropriate assessment, and I didn't think we were changing that. And number 1 rule in coaching is do no harm. I wasn't going to do that to our team.
Paul Etu, 4 points in the game against Tampa to clinch that series, 3 points tonight. Just what's it been like seeing a guy like him who he's giving you defensively to start getting himself on the offensive end and being able to maybe get his name out there a little bit, being able to produce the way that he has so far.
How many years does he have left on his contract? Yeah, he's been lucky. Oh, he's got 3 years left? Oh, he's a good player. Like, you guys won't like hearing this, but there's a Brad Marchand effect there. There is, and that's Lundell scored tonight, a roll off the slot hole, and he's affected those guys in such a positive way about thinking about the game and the small area plays, and felt those 2 young guys had it in them, but the role that I gave them stunted them. I don't want to let them do that. Every puck deep, all that stuff, on and above it, get it deep, put the puck at the net. It's not a lot of creativity in the way that I coach, right? It's pretty simple. Brad comes in and says, hey, we can do all those things, but we can also make some plays around here, fellas. And so it starts in practice, right? They start close supporting small area plays. And there's some hands there. Lundell, I think we knew because he scored 18 as a rookie, but A2, he's got some pretty good hands. Like he missed on one in game 6. There's a 2-on-1 that he brought the puck back on, and he was just late getting it off. But it's there for him, unless he was in his last year, in which case he's just lucky. Not yet. It's coming though.
Paul, you said before you love when Jonah's in the lineup. Obviously, he was a healthy scratch during last year's run. What did it mean to see him get in the lineup during the series and then just have a moment like he had tonight, that big goal?
Well, it's not a hunch to put him in. He's earned it. Like at the end of the season prior, the idea would, if he could get a half step quicker, he scored 46 goals in major junior. That's real. He's got some hands on him. He can shoot a puck a ton. And we just, in the role that he's in the minutes that he plays, there's a tendency to not get faster. You just don't play enough, right? So it's hard skates at the end. Anyway, he did what he needed to do. So that line, which for me was the difference in the series for us. If you're looking for an inflection point, is that line coming in? And they scored, right? Gadge gets the tip-off, nose in the one. Greersy gets one. Gadge gets a big one tonight. They have in their game our identity, the way we want to play. So, and everybody loves the guy, right? Like he's got twins. Everybody loves Gadge. He takes care of everybody. He fights for them. Those goals are the big ones.
Paul, on Brad Marchand, you traded for him 10 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Coached against him for a long time. You knew of him. What do you know now that you did not know about him?
What I didn't know was what Gregory Campbell did is his incredibly positive spirit. Guys that are vocal and intense sometimes will get up and down your bench screaming at your bench, right? They just get so wired in the game, and he never does that. It's always positive. It's always stay in there, hang in there. That was great. So good. So we get these two young, especially Lundy, young guys playing. It's bordering on legendary status at this point. And he's pumping their tires, and he's just like every day excited. It's his personality that I didn't know. But he's moved into the Matthew Tkachuk, like hate them. That's a horrible word, but it's close. And then they get here and go, you're the exact opposite person that I thought you were. He's just a wonderful human being.
Paul, you've coached here. You know what it's like. When you're coaching against this team, is there a moment where you understand, or you know, or you feel like you know that you've got them?
Like never behind the bench, right? It's whatever it was, 5-1, 6-1, and it's 4:30 on the clock, and I'm running Barkov off the bench because I know the goalie's coming. We get like a 4-4. Yeah, no, that day doesn't come. What's great for the league is hard for the Toronto Maple Leafs and their players, right? The passion for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the scrutiny that these men are under is why everybody else gets paid so much. It's a driver, but there's a cost to it, and for them, there's a challenge. Yeah, you can hit one out of the park here, and then you're never buying lunch for the rest of your life, right? Like, but there's a cost for these guys, for their families. When you lose a game like this, it's going to be rough on them, and you're going to go through a whole bunch of things that aren't wrong, but they're wrong because they lost. This is a good team. This is a much better team than we played 2 years ago. Much better. It's a much better team than we played 23 years ago in the conference final. This team is in that group of teams like ours. Like there's maybe 11 this year, then there's 8 they have a chance, and that's one of those teams. So you're going to assign a whole bunch of character flaws that just aren't true. All right then.